I was sitting in my car waiting for my grandson, and he asked me something I didn't have an answer for. Not then, anyway. We were outside his piano teacher's house. He'd just finished his lesson 20 minutes, same as every Thursday. He threw his music book in the back seat, buckled himself in, and we sat there for a second in that quiet way you do when you're not quite ready to drive yet. And he said, "Grandpa, do you think you did important things? Not, are you proud of your life, or did you have a good career? Just important things." I looked at him. He wasn't trying to be deep. He was 10. He'd probably just heard the word somewhere, but I didn't know what to say. I still think about that sometimes. What does it mean to do something important? I'm 71 now, retired mechanical engineer, worked for the same company for 38 years. I've been thinking about that question more than I expected, and I'm starting to realize the answer I would have given him 20 years ago wouldn't be the answer I'd give now. There was a guy I worked with named Dennis. Dennis was in quality control. Quiet guy, kept his head down. He'd been there longer than anyone, maybe 42, 43 years. We'd pass each other in the hallway, nod, maybe talk about the weather or a project delay. I didn't think much about Dennis, honestly, but one day I was in a meeting with some of the younger engineers, and one of them mentioned his name. She said, "Dennis saved me when I first started here." I asked what she meant. She said that in her first month, she'd made a mistake on a specs report. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to set a project back a few weeks if it had gone through. Dennis caught it, didn't embarrass her, didn't make a big deal, just walked over to her desk, pointed it out, showed her what to fix. Then someone else in the room said, "Oh yeah, Dennis did that for me too." And then someone else. Turns out Dennis had been doing that for decades, just catching things, helping people. Not for recognition, not for a promotion. He never even brought it up. When he retired, they gave him a plaque and a dinner at some chain restaurant. 20 people showed up, standard stuff. But I remember standing there thinking, how many projects did this guy save? How many careers did he protect without anyone noticing? And it hit me. Dennis did important things every single week. And I'd walked past him for 30 years without seeing it. I think we're taught to measure importance by visibility. If people don't see it, it didn't matter. If it's not on a resume or a highlight reel, it's not real. I believed that for a long time. I thought the important stuff was the stuff that got noticed. Promotions, big projects, the things you could point to and say, "I did that." But I've started to wonder if we've got it backwards. There was a point in my life, mid-40s, maybe, where I was convinced I'd wasted everything. I'd been passed over for a senior engineering role. Third time. I watched someone younger get it. Someone flashier. Better at talking in meetings. I came home that night and I just sat in the garage for a while. Didn't even go inside. My wife came out eventually. Didn't say much. Just sat with me. After a while she said, "You know, Sarah called today." Sarah was our daughter. She was in grad school at the time, couple states away. My wife said, "She told me she's using something you taught her when she was little, about how to solve problems. She said she thinks about it all the time." I didn't even remember teaching her that. It was probably some throwaway conversation at the dinner table when she was 12, but it mattered to her. And sitting there in the garage that night, feeling like I'd failed at everything that was supposed to count, that was the thing that kept me from completely falling apart. Not a promotion, not a title, a conversation I didn't even remember having. I didn't realize it at the time, but that moment changed how I think about everything because I started paying attention to the things I'd been dismissing. The guy at the grocery store who always remembered my name. The neighbor who mowed my lawn that one summer when I had knee surgery. The coworker who stayed late to help me untangle a spreadsheet I'd completely screwed up. None of that stuff shows up on LinkedIn. None of it gets applause. But it's the stuff that actually holds life together. I think about my grandson sometimes, the one who asked me that question. He's 12 now, learning how to play chess. Not very good at it yet, but he keeps trying. Last month I went over to his house, and he asked if I wanted to play a game. I'm not great at chess either, but I said yes. We played for maybe 40 minutes. He beat me. Barely. He was so proud of himself. And afterward, his mom told me he'd been asking all week if I was coming over. He wanted to show me what he'd learned. I almost didn't go. I had things to do, errands, nothing urgent, just stuff. But I went, and I realized, sitting there at that little folding table in their living room, that this right here was probably one of the most important things I'd do that week. Not because I taught him some life-changing lesson, not because it'll be a story he tells at my funeral, but because I showed up, because he asked, and I said yes. I used to think importance was about scale. How many people? How much impact? How long it lasts? And maybe that's true for some things, but I've started to think that importance is quieter than that. It's showing up when it's inconvenient. It's listening when you'd rather talk. It's noticing when someone's struggling and not needing them to ask for help. It's being the person someone thinks of when they're scared or stuck or just need to sit in silence for a while. There was a moment a few years ago, I think it was Thanksgiving, where my daughter pulled me aside. She was going through something. I won't get into it, but she was struggling. And she said, "Dad, can I just talk to you for a minute?" We went outside, stood on the porch. It was cold. She didn't need advice. She didn't need me to fix anything. She just needed me to stand there and listen. We were out there for maybe 10 minutes. She cried a little. I didn't say much. When we went back inside, she hugged me and said, "Thanks." That was it. But I think about that moment more than I think about most of the stuff I thought was important when I was 40. So when my grandson asked me if I'd done important things, I think the question itself might be wrong, or at least incomplete, because it assumes importance is something you do once, something you achieve, something you can point to. But I don't think it works like that. I think importance is what you do on a Tuesday when no one's watching. It's whether you pick up the phone. It's whether you show up. It's whether when someone asks you to sit with them, you say yes. I'm 71 now, and I don't know if I did important things, not in the way I thought I was supposed to. But I know I was there for some people, at least I hope I was. I know there were moments where I chose to stay when I could have left, where I chose to listen when I could have moved on. And I think, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's actually the whole thing. I hope you notice the small stuff, the person who checks in on you, the kid who wants to show you something, the friend who just needs you to sit with them for a while. I hope you notice it, and I hope you show up. If you're comfortable sharing, what's one thing you think you've been chasing that might not matter as much as you thought? I'd be curious to hear it. If you want to leave a comment, I'll read it. And if this landed with you, maybe share it with someone who needs to hear it. No pressure, just if it feels right.